You know that feeling when your heart's beating like 150 times per minute and you don't know what's going wrong and the room's spinning and your vision's all getting messed up and you think you're dying? Well, you are not dying. You're probably just having an anxiety attack. And lots of people get these. Millions of people have them every single year. And I was a sufferer of anxiety attacks. Mine were brought on by an illness, which is different, but while I had that illness, I learned how to deal with the symptoms of my anxiety attacks a lot, and it made things a million times better. So I'll help give you some tips on what to do, on how to deal with anxiety. You know, anxiety can be caused by a lot of things. You know, pretty much any sort of stress, any sort of stressful life event or chronic stress that can cause anxiety. But the big thing for a lot of people that causes anxiety attacks is, you know, those stressful life events brought on by very bad negative thoughts. And so there's a couple things you can do to help out with those two things. So I'll start off with just treating the chronic stress. I'll just say the basic stuff, which everyone knows. You know, trying to get a lot of sleep. You know, I don't recommend it, but if you need to get your sleeping schedule back on track, I've used sleeping pills. Try not to use them because you can get not hooked on them, but dependent on them to sleep. Using one every once in a while, perfectly fine to get back on sleep schedule. And that can help out. Actually, if you sleep on time around 9 to 10 o'clock and wake up at, 6, whenever the sun rises, that gets your circadian rhythm back on track, which is your body's natural rhythm. And that can actually, just doing that can relieve a lot of stress. So sleeping properly is big too. Getting lots of exercise, making sure your heart's healthy. Again, this is all the basic stuff, eating right. And one of the big things, obviously, is tackling the stressful things in your life. So if you can reduce the stress at all in any way, which is tough to do, try and do that. Now, for anxiety attacks, this is something that I had to deal with for months. And I learned a few very cool tips. So when the negative thoughts start going in your head, like, okay, for me, it was just like, oh my God, I'm losing balance. I'm going to die. This is a heart attack, whatever. Challenge those thoughts. And by that, I mean, is this really happening? Am I really dying? I've had a bunch of these before. Why haven't I died before? I'm not going to die. This isn't going to happen. This is just an anxiety attack. This is just, my heart rate is just out of control right now. And that's all this is. I'm going to be fine within minutes, or I guess at the beginning, it would be an hour. These anxiety attacks would last. And then, I'd be fine within minutes. And honestly, my last few anxiety attacks that happened, they didn't last more than 10 seconds. It was just like my heart rate went up and I cleared my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to be fine. And they just went away. So that's the one thing I can say. Next time you have any sort of anxiety attack like that, tell yourself you're going to be okay. And I know that's tough to do, but just remember, you've had a bunch of these already. You've survived all of these. Everything's going to be okay. Trust me. That's what you have to keep telling yourself. And that helps more than anything that I can tell you guys. So this kind of goes along those lines too. I actually tell everyone this whenever they get stressed out about anything or like too focused about one stressful thing, like when people have anxiety over exams. I know a lot of people that had that I've helped out actually and have thanked me for, is I tell them or I talk to them and I'll make them take a step back. And so what do I mean by that? So let's just say your anxiety is, again, I'll say caused by a test or an exam that's coming up and you're really stressed out, anxiety, all that stuff, and they're freaking out. Like I can see them shaking while they're studying, like hours before a test or even minutes before. I'll see them shaking. I'll make them take a step back. So I said this in a previous video. Okay, obviously just say, why are you nervous about this test? And they'll just say, well, I don't want to fail. I want to get a good grade, whatever. And so I just say, okay, let's just say you're going to fail this test. Let's just say you fail it. What's going to happen to you? What's going to happen? Are you going to die because you failed this test? Are you going to not be successful because you failed this test? So even if you fail this test, you're going to be fine. You're going to go home. You're going to eat some food. You're going to check your mark. You might see an F. You might not. But guess what? You're still going to get a good job. You're still going to raise a good family. Everyone's going to still support you. You're still going to have loved ones. You're still going to have people in your life. Even if you don't, guess what? You can still change your life. There's so many opportunities. This one test is not going to cause your life to derail itself. Make them take a step back, right? Do not take their focus away from the test itself and more onto the grand life perspective, as you know, that's what I like to call it. And you know, while they're taking a step back, make them think of the other positive stuff that's going on in their lives. So for some students, you know, I say, okay, if you fail this test, you know, you have the best friends, you know, you have, you know, a girlfriend or boyfriend that really, really likes or loves you. You know, you have all these extracurricular activities. You're really good at sports. You know, you have this part-time job, which you do amazing at. You're going to be fine if you fail this test. And you have parents that support you. You have, you know, brothers and sisters. You have everything that most people in this world would ever want, whether you fail this test or not. So again, this is just an example of a test. For everyone, it's different. So for, you know, jobs, it's obviously different. For bills, if that's stressing you out, for money, that's different. But just take a step back, take a deep breath. For some people, meditation works, clearing your mind. That's a good suggestion. Doesn't work for me. Just taking a step back in my own mind without meditation, that's what works for me. So again, I hope that helps you. One of my last tips that I'm going to say that helped me a lot when I had anxiety attacks was actually listening to some comedy on YouTube. So I guess that, you know, laughter can help, but I guess even watching or doing something that you love. So I like listening to comedy. It makes me laugh. It makes me happy. So I remember I was having an anxiety attack actually, and so I was freaking out, like my hands were shaking and stuff. And I'd go on the computer, and I remember typing in this scene from Ricky Gervais' show Life's Too Short, and it's a Liam Neeson scene in the Ricky Gervais show, and it's like 4 minutes long, and it completely took my mind off of everything. And it was so funny, and by the end of it, I didn't even remember I was having an anxiety attack. It was like, oh my God, this is so freaking funny. And so just doing something you love, doing something that makes you distracted, even if it's tough to do it in the moment. So during an anxiety attack, I know you're probably not going to be able to play basketball or something. You're going to be falling all over the place, right? So again, doing something like trying to read a book even, or trying to watch a TV show that you like or a movie. It can be tough, I know. But just doing something to take your mind off it that helps a lot. So those were the things that helped me deal with anxiety. I hope that they help you too. Leave a comment if you have any things that helped you deal with anxiety. Maybe we can build up a little bit of a community here. But anyways, just thank you very much for watching. If you want this in a podcast, as always, go check it out. The link is in the description below. And go check out my other channel, JackSci, which is a science channel, millions of views. Go look at it. And yeah, anyways, as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow.